What's up? Happy New Year out there to everybody in the world. It's your boy Casino for life. Let's get to it. Now y'all ask me about Ice Cube and Faizon Love. Well, Ice Cube and Faizon, Cube is the only person I know who had to answer so many questions about, oh, people ain't getting their money and all this. Do they realize Ice Cube is not the one really cutting the check? That's crazy. Do you realize that all the people in Hollywood, New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers, all of these people, it's always we gotta destroy the black face of the film. Friday came out and it would have been a straight to video DVD. That's how the studio looked at it. This was a side project to them, so they could say they're not bigoted. They're giving black films a chance. Just to keep those people off their back, they'll give them their $1 million, $2 million to go make their film that they'll eventually make a little bit of money off the hood when it goes on DVD release. They're not going to put it in a bunch of theaters. This is how their process rolls. And I want to say shouts out to everybody who has supported me by hitting my Cash App up. Carcino's the name on the Cash App. My super chat, all the people that super chatting, thank you. Super thanks is supposed to be coming later this year. Some people already got it. Why I don't have it is, well, it's what it is. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. Keep the love going in 2022, same way. Like button is still free. Now, the problem in this situation is that the system has been screwed up for years. The system has been flawed. Wherever there's a problem in Hollywood, blacks have always dug out Hollywood. That's when the black exploitative films basically changed the whole culture of movies and what you could actually film in movies. Even though the reverends and the pastors had a problem with movies like Superfly, The Mac, that glorified us only in negative stereotypes, it made money for all of those people. The brothers in the industry, they had a career. Black Hollywood was alive then because Hollywood movies were bombing during that time. So during that period, it saved Hollywood. And once they got on their feet, they said, well, we don't need these movies no more. And they basically ostracized them. And now we're back begging for roles. So the film industry has always given blacks their ass to kiss. And now blacks could really control their own destiny with streaming. And using streaming in a smart way, you'll be able to control and go direct to consumer. So you have a little bit more power than you did back in 95 when he was making Friday. Now, when Friday came out, it came out on the salaries, people did not make a lot of money. People made whatever the scale price was for a film. If you wanted to be in it, you wanted to be in it. If you didn't have to take it. So him getting paid $2,500 scale just for that movie, they had to shoot for 20 days of work. And it wasn't like Big Worm was a major character in the film. He only had a few scenes. And that was it. He was not really seen that much on the film because they didn't have enough money to put him back into the film as many times as they could. They just filmed certain scenes and then that was it. He was never saw in any pursuit of them because they didn't have the budget really to continuously do that. So his role was just reduced to a couple of scenes. Now, in the sequel, they wanted to bring him back, and he wasn't going to have a big major role in that one as well. Now, I'm going to tell you because Next Friday had a couple of scripts that you guys probably never knew about. So we're going to go into that. In the role where they were going to have Big Worm in there in the film, Big Worm was going to be locked up with Debo as he was arrested as the kids turned him in to the police because he was ripping them off on chili Fritos, which ended up them finding contraband or whatever, and he was sentenced and was in jail, locked up with Debo. And while he was locked up with Debo, he helped Debo get out because he wanted to get Craig, so he helped Debo escape prison. So that was his extent to the sequel. So Ice Cube offered him $5,000, which he thought was an insult when he was only going to have like one scene really in the entire film. And this is when the original script was made, when Chris Tucker was supposedly in the movie. But at that time, Chris Tucker declined because his price was way too high. And he was supposed to be in a rehab facility for weed, locked up. So they were going to have a scene with him where he could just do a cameo. And he didn't want to be known for that character. This was known way back when Next Friday was out, when they went to go get Mike Epps to be the sidekick because, they had to rewrite the entire script around Day and Craig now. And it's changed the scale of what was going on. But I thought it worked out for the best because Mike Epps brought a whole new freshness to the whole Friday series. So it worked. The dynamic worked a lot better in the end. But that's all he really was asked. That was only Faizon Love's role. He wasn't gonna be like the star of the movie. Before Friday, he did the voice for Bebe's kids. And I remember him, this was the first movie I ever seen him in, Fear of a Black Hat. And if you haven't seen Fear of a Black Hat, please watch that. That's the original CB4, the better version of CB4. They came out the same year. It was a whole big thing. We'll talk about that later. But everybody was not complaining about salary when they got paid. It's always when things ain't going well for you. And he thought it wasn't about the money, it was the disrespect or whatever. Him, offering him the $5,000 for the role where he got $100,000 to do the replacements. At that time, what really blew him up, and he had did Players Club with Ice Cube. If you thought you got robbed in Friday, or you felt robbed or whatever, why would you show up and get a check for the Players Club? You was in the Players Club. That was before Next Friday. If it wasn't for Friday, you would have never seen, or he would have never got all of these roles that he had. He had every role, every call was coming in after Friday's success. So you got Thin Line with Martin Lawrence. You ended up doing Money Talks, Chris Tucker movie that blew up, and Tucker started taking off. And he was supposed to do a sequel to that and produce that, but Chris Tucker just got really lazy. But you do that, you do Three Strikes. So you did all of this back work to where your asking price is way higher than it was back when you took scale to do Friday. And Friday's like everywhere. People are playing Friday on videotapes everywhere. So people are getting to see you. So your worth is up. Everybody numbers shot up to the ceiling after Friday. And they were getting work based on what happened just for being associated with the movie. And Big Worm was barely in the movie. Filmed a couple of scenes And that was it. Now, all of a sudden, when people careers ain't where it used to be anymore, now they going back to complain and say, hey man, could you help me out? Throw me in a movie or something. This is the way they cry out for help. And Faizon Love is a great actor, like comedy and everything else. I thought he was great. I just don't understand that, like, why we always gotta go to the person who's not the person at fault. If somebody do you the right way, why do we gotta come and tear us down? Nobody can say, man, we gotta tear down New Line Cinemas, um, president, or the guys in charge of the budgets, Warner Brothers. Nobody do that. They always go for the blackface because it's easier to do that than to call them out, because they control so much. They got the power. But we ain't gonna. It's easy. Let's go after Brother Man, because Brother Man, yeah, we can just say it's his fault and everybody gonna go along with it. Like they gonna blame Ice Cube for last Friday not being out. Why would you do that? It's not his fault. The studio didn't release the budget. But when you don't have control over your film and distribution, you got to wait for green lights. This is what the situation that we're in now, when you don't control anything. And now because of streaming, people realize, man, I could do what I want to do, but let me go back and get what I had before. Like Cube now could pretty much, well, no, he can't, because he did some deals with partnerships with other people. But still, this is the position we got to work towards, is freeing ourselves to where we can put things out without permission from somebody else telling us to do it. We got to control that side of the coin to where it's fair for us. And this is the way, and the only way to fix the game is to create a new game within the game. That's how you fix something, because the system they got in place is never designed to let you in it, to be in that position to dictate what you want to do when you want to do it. Even though it makes money, they don't care about your money. They just want questions to go away. They don't want people to say, hey, why you ain't putting out no black people? Why ain't no black people in this film? They paid money. That's money they got on the side just to have that stuff shut up, so they can make the films that they like to the audience they want to push it to. And Faizon, and it's disappointing because he comes off as a bitter man. He's like, seems like every time now, and it's a shame. Yeah, he's a Cuban, man. So you see him smoking, he's a Cuban, big Cuban brother. But yeah, he comes off as a bitter man now because people don't see his genius. He's actually was a great actor, but we didn't get a chance to see that because of his size. He has great comedic time and everything, but because of his size, he was always typecast in certain roles. And there was a lot of roles that he wouldn't get in Hollywood. And for a while, he did really good. Like he had Couples Retreat. Then he had, after Couples Retreat, what else did he have? He had like Life as We Know It. He was an elf. He was in an upper echelon scale where he was on the big pay grade. Then something happened. And that's something that happened back in like 2010 or 11 ruined him. And he was back in the Chitlin circuit doing like stuff like Grow House. And, you're like, why is Faizon Love in this? It's just, it was like, this is something you do, you going back to Friday. It's just like in reverse. Like, what's going on here? So, it's just sad to see. Like, every week he's attacking a different person. Some instead of saying, trying to get him a Netflix deal or saying, man, why I'm not on Netflix, he attacks a person that's on Netflix. That's black. You see what I'm saying? It's a system, it's a cynical way of looking at things. And that cynicism is what's holding people back in life. This is the type of behavior that goes around, and you see it constantly on social media. Bitterness, hating. If another person is doing something well and you ain't even in the category of doing what they're doing, you just hate it anyway. We're in that stage. And that mode is what's keeping you down while everybody else is going up. Ice Cube didn't rob anybody. There was no need to rob anybody because there was no money made. Like it did like 20 million. Like it wasn't like guys broke the bank on Friday. No, Friday that was the impetus of it. It was the start. The beginning. Now everything after that, now the bag can come. The budgets is higher. So you make your money. It's like Rocky. The movie Rocky that won the Oscar and all that. Rocky. This is the movie of all time. Best movie of the year was Rocky. Rocky didn't make the money. Sly got paid on Rocky 2. That's when the money came. Now the bag come. Rocky is put everything on the map, but the bag gonna come on Rocky 2 and Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. That's where the money coming in at. Rocky just set the stage. So it wasn't like, oh, he robbed everybody and kept all the money to himself. That didn't happen right there. Not on that. So people got paid what they was agreed to, and nobody seemed to always have, like, there's no problem until there's a problem. When things are going bad. It's like when Rockefeller broke up and nobody complained about anything until the money was gone. Or until their money was spent up. Now they want to go and complain about Rockefeller ain't do this for me, and Rock Nation, with Benny Siegel was whining and crying about what was going on once the well dried up. And then you saw people complain about what should have happened and what shouldn't have happened. Jay should have just let him go. But that was Jay's ego, not wanting to sign a deal to let him go because he's not a good businessman. He don't realize that was his out. That would have been the best thing for Jay, was to do that deal and let Benny Siegel out his contract. That was the best thing for Jay. But Jay has never been a great businessman. But he was forced to have to make that decision because Dame ain't there to make that kind of decision for him. He had to make that. So that was on him. Faizon is great. He's excellent in his field of what he does. Comedy, he's hilarious. I would love to see him get back to where he was, but like I'm saying now, this is a way of saying F everybody and this and that, and I don't need this and that. That's not gonna get you back up there. That ain't gonna make people want to work with you. I wouldn't want to work with a person that was gonna do that, because I'll be like, okay, 5 years from now, he gonna be saying F us. It's like some of his bills ain't getting paid, the check low. We could have called him out and seen how he was doing, because he had did a movie for us, and now he's saying F us, and that's how he gets everybody's attention. It's like, it's not the way to do it. It's not the way to do it. creating a narrative to tear down a brother, man, ain't the way. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Love, peace, and hair grease. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's free. Subscribe to the page. All those good things. And yeah, Cash App is Carcino. The Patreon is starting this January the 1st. We already got our first breaking news on there already. You wanted to know the breakup between Making Good and her husband and why I didn't say nothing about it. Oh, well, it's on the Patreon. You'll see why. I'm out.